You got commercials?
Bro, you better chill the fuck out, dude. That's like, you're thinking way too much.
No, I'm just trying to get like a sample video with the music to see if it's like in low enough. But we're gonna have to.
We're just gonna start it, fool. You're tripping.
It's been started
Bro, then let's just
since you've been
go.
picking your nose.
Good. Pick it again, bitch. Yo, what up, guys?
Smooth. What's up? Welcome back to Substandard Garage. I know it's been a minute. Sorry, but that's life. So we're right here with Joseph, and we're gonna be working on what?
We're working on my 2005 Mazda Rx-8. We're gonna be doing a motor swap on the car, just like usual. Just around that time you don't want it to, that shit blew up on me. You know,
Typical rotary thing.
typical rotary engine. Get prepared for it. Be ready when it's gonna blow up, and then just don't burn all your money on drugs.
Yep.
So all you can do is just be prepared and know what you're gonna do whenever you get it, whenever you're ready to swap it, right? So we're gonna take it slow with this one, and then we're gonna make sure that we get everything we need to swap the engine out, right? We got new, of course, the basic shit, you know, new spark plugs, new things like that. But we're gonna do some preventative measures to prevent it from going boom again later on. You know, basic stuff. We don't need all of this, but we got some of the liquid moly anti-friction engine treatment. That's just gonna be going in with the engine oil. That's gonna give it like some protection to, like, basically, it's like it's an oil additive that sticks onto the metal, like, I guess what the molecules that it has, it'll like stick to the metal. Even when you drain the oil, it'll
Kind of like a magnet.
basically like a magnet, but you know, scientifically with science and electrodes and for smart people, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't design it. I'm not an engineer. Then we have our two-stroke racing oil from Redline. It's arguably one of the best two-stroke racing oils for rotary engines. I know a lot of people run the renewable lubricant stuff, you know, stuff like that. But my preference is always going to be the Redline. Or if you want to run Moto, the 800, the V800, that's a good one too. I run E85 in my car. So we're gonna be doing the Redline.
Oh yeah, we haven't even showed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give an update once the car is here.
Yeah, once the car's here, we're gonna have a big update on everything. But so right now we have the two-stroke racing oil. This is a non-ester base, meaning that you cannot mix it with E85. So you're probably asking, then why the hell do you run it if you're running E85? Is because I have an actual like external reservoir made from Ryan Rotary Performance that replaces your windshield washer reservoir, and then that secondary reservoir, you're basically adding, you can add any two-stroke mix, because that's going straight from your reservoir into your oil metering pump into your engine. It's not mixing with any fuel, it's going straight to the engine itself. And then in here, just to make sure that all the lines are good and clean and everything else, and you know, just because the car's been sitting, we're going to put some of this Lucas E85 cleaner and stuff. You should be using this one in California for every car, because everything in California has ethanol 10%, but they don't tell you that shit at AutoZone because they're getting overpaid. Basic stuff. The car's been sitting for a while. The brake fluid has a lot of moisture on it. I'm not even going to test it because I can see it really bad in black. So we're just going to run some liquid moly brake fluid 5.1. It's not the silicone based one, because you don't want to run the silicone until you get to like supercars and stuff like that, but this is the regular 5.1 that's compatible with .3 and .4. Basic gun oil, I have, like, you can run gun oil.
A .5 is synthetic, right?
Correct. They're both synthetic. The .5 is the silicone base. The 5.1 is going to be compatible with .3, .4 basic cars.
So it's just like a straight upgrade.
Yeah, it's basically a straight upgrade. It's just going to have a higher boiling point. You know, it's not going to make it break any better. It's just so if you do race the car, you drive it under extreme temperatures, whenever it does get to that boiling temperature, it doesn't fade away. You don't have that soft pedal and stuff.
Boiling point 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, if you get it to 500 degrees,
you did something wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have this shit from like when I used to have my other business. You just gun oil, you can use it for anything. It just withstands high temperatures, but it's just any oil to lubricate it whenever we're installing new seals and stuff like that, or bearings, just to kind of get around the edges. We're pressing them in or putting a seal in. This one here is a specific tool that we're going to use for the pilot bearing installation. The pilot bearing that I got the OEM one from, well, the OEM one from Mazda, being a coil bearing. I ordered it from Mazda Tricks. It's going to be like a basic needle bearing style. You probably can't see it, but this would just go into there and you just kind of hammer it in until you feel it stopping. For the clutch kit and stuff like that, I'm getting a coil bearing for the throwout bearing as well, because for some reason on Mazdas, like every bearing you get, they always go out hella weird. If you get like a cheaper like Timken or a, you know,
Those come in plastic?
I haven't seen them in plastic, but
Because some of the Ford ones come in plastic, and we always try to look for something that's made out of metal.
Yeah. So this
For the
one
same
here,
reason, they split in half.
this one here looks like it's plastic like in the inside and there, but it's not plastic as far as like the bearing goes, or the inner races or the outer races. This is going to be an actual like Japanese coil bearing. This thing weighs like 5 pounds in its own. You can tell the difference in the quality whenever you feel that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, me personally, I'm super picky when it comes to my car. So like if I can get a Japanese part or an OEM part equivalent, I'm gonna run that. Spark plug, we're gonna run the NGKs. You know, Mazdas run 2 different plugs. These are my old ones, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like, this is you have a leading and a trailing plug. So the front, or you have a leading in the top and trailing in the bottom. And then you have that, what it looks like on there. It's not gonna look like your normal spark plug you can normally gap. That's gonna look like that on one end. And on the other end, you're gonna have another one. This is a brand new one here. That's gonna look just like that. It's not gonna have those cutouts. It's gonna be a little bit different.
What are the part numbers on
The 2 part numbers on these are 6701 and 6700, or you're gonna be R39B-T for trailing, or 9E7C-L for leading. I'm not gonna be running any anti-seize on this because those that know that NGK doesn't recommend you to use any anti-seize on your actual spark plug threads on these, because the metal they use are already designed to not seize up in your engines, whether it's cast iron or aluminum head. You just say don't use any anti-seize in them. That's how that goes.
Then you can strip it?
Pretty much, you can strip it, or if you put anti-seize in there when it doesn't need it, it's just not going to tighten at all, and it'll loosen up over time. So just don't use any. If you have NGK spark plugs, whether it's platinum, double platinum, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be designed the same. That's pretty much how that is. Other than that, I'm just going to be running for now in the first startup, even though I'm using all this like anti-friction stuff and everything else. I'm going to be using premix in the engine inside the spark plug holes to make sure that it doesn't like, you know, have a lot of corrosion and build up and stuff like that. So I'm going to do like a 500-mile oil change interval for the first startup. So for right now, I just got a basic Bosch filter, part number 3300, a new oil drain plug washer. The Bosch filters I like a lot. They're like the best bang for your buck filter.
It looks like what my kid uses on his Power Wheels.
Yeah, they're super tiny. Where's this one made at? I'm not sure where they're made at. They're probably all made overseas, honestly. But Bosch is gonna have like one of the better filters because it has a silicone bypass valve inside of it. So if it reaches a certain temperature or gets clogged up, it's not gonna be getting stuck anywhere, and it's gonna.
Yeah, you're better off bypassing oil than to starve oil.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, when you get to like the higher end filters, like when they're like $10 and up, you're gonna have a silicone base ring as well. But the thing is, while I like about it, you probably can't see it, but inside it has a valve and a spring. That's the anti-drain back. So that's the bypass valve. Sorry, the silicone base ring inside is gonna be the anti-drain back valve, and the one inside is going to be the bypass valve. So if it gets clogged up, it springs and opens everything up, and that's going to look something like that inside. If you can see it, not sure where, pause the video. If not, just buy one and figure it out.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, the other part that we're going to be doing on this, for the external part of it, I got some Ryan Rotary Performance lightweight pulleys. I got them in the anodized blue version. I forgot how much these cost. I think they were like 180 pounds, 175 pounds or something like that. That converts over to about like $200 or so, 220 bucks, somewhere around there. This one here, so you have your idler, tensioner, AC, crank pulley, or tensioner shaft pulley, all that, water pump pulley. You have all of that. That's gonna be this one here. I'm not sure what brand bearing they use. They just use like a, you know, I think it's like your regular like auto parts store. Like it's probably gonna be like a National bearing or a Timken bearing. That's what they use on that. Not bad. It's gonna do its job. Then you have your water pump pulley and your crank or eccentric shaft pulley, your main pulley. And that's gonna look like this. I like this one here a lot because it's gonna have the rotary design on the inside, like that. Looks pretty dope. So it's pretty sick. They machine them really nice. I'm not sure if they actually machine these in-house or if he just sources them out, but we'll go ahead and talk about that later.
That they leave it raw in where the belt goes.
Yeah, they don't anodize anything where the belt goes. Of course, you're not gonna want to do that. You're not gonna want to have anything there that's gonna cause any slippage, or you're not gonna want to have anything that's gonna cause any nicks or any burrs. You don't want to have any defects on that. There's gonna be the other pulley here. Looks like this, super clean. They make them in different colors. They make them in silver, black, gray, red and blue, stuff like that. So I wanted to go with the dark gray one, so it looks like very sleek and like sleeper, but also looks like you can afford to get aftermarket pulleys. But I didn't want to. They were out of stock, so I didn't get those ones. So I just got the next ones that were available because I didn't want to wait. So I just got the anodized blue ones. Other than that, the only other thing that we're gonna need is gonna be this tool here, which is a tool for the rotary engines that you need to stop the flywheel from rotating because it uses a giant nut on the crank basically, and it's like it's a 54 millimeter 6-point that you have to torque down to like 1,000 foot-pounds. So it's a bitch. So I got that thing as well.
And then rotate it 90 degrees.
Yeah, so it's extremely strong. So we got that there going. Other than that, that's pretty much it as far as those things go and the tools go. The main parts that I'm going to be doing is going to be aftermarket clutch. I'm going to be running the ACT clutch. I got the stage 1 street clutch with the heavy duty pressure plate. I got a coil racing radiator. I got Mishimoto, I believe they're 13-row oil coolers, the Mishimoto hoses, and I got the Mishimoto oil cooler, what else? The upper lower radiator hoses and the oil cooler hoses, and then I'm running a Dishworks E5 fuel pump. I think it's 355 liters per hour. Oil wise, we're just gonna run regular Valvoline. It's basically Napa, it's bottled by Valvoline, so those who know that's all their oil comes from the same place. Let me pull out some of these parts over here so yeah, you guys can have an idea of what we're working with. So here we got the clutch disc. Right over here we got the pressure plate.
So what was the combo you said you got on between the pressure plate and the disc? So
the combo I'm running on the pressure plate and the disc, it's basically like what you would consider a stage 1. You can on ACT, I don't believe they ever have like a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. It's basically like how do you want to do it for yourself. You can actually buy a 6-puck sprung clutch that's for a racing application, and you can actually just buy your regular heavy duty pressure plate, and that'll make it a lot more streetable, right? That's why I kind of went towards ACT. And Ivan has had a lot of luck with the ACT in the past. He's had them in his cars before, blown up transmissions, never blown the clutch. I've always known they were some of the best ones. They were just a little bit more expensive. I got this one here from our buddies over at Tick Performance, so big shout out to you guys. That's the cheapest you're gonna find them. If it doesn't let you find it by your year, make, and model, just email them or just call them. They will literally answer the phone like if you're calling AutoZone, and they'll help you out and give you the better price than anybody else on the internet. I found it by part number, and that's how I ran across them. But they are a big, legit website. They offer like memberships as well if you guys want to sign up for those. They give you better discounts and all that stuff. So big shout out to Tick Performance. Yep. So here we got the HD pressure plate. So the HD pressure plate is gonna basically be their heavy duty one. It's gonna be like their stage 1. You can run it all the way up to like a 6-puck as well. Of course, you're basically paying like $300, $200 for the stickers, and you get a free clutch. That's really what we buy these parts for. You don't buy anything for the fucking part, to be honest.
We strictly looked for the stickers.
Yeah.
And then realized they came with a clutch.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit, cool clutch. So this is what the clutch, I don't want to take it out yet. It's kind of sunk in there pretty solid. They come basically like vacuum sealed in this insert right here. Super good quality. You know the powder coating on the pressure plate, it's gonna be really good. The rivets are good, the stakes are good. Like these things are like indestructible clutches. If you mess up or you break one of these, there was something else wrong with it. Like I've never had or heard of a defective ACT clutch ever in my life, unless someone doesn't know how to drive. So I'm combining this here with the stage 1 basically organic street disc, and then that's gonna give you like that stage 1 kind of performance.
And it's spring, so it makes it streetable.
Yeah, so that's gonna be your stage 1 clutch basically. It comes with the tool already on it. I had to actually buy that separately. Sorry. So it didn't come with it together. If you have one for your car, you can always buy them anywhere. Any of them will work. It's probably just like a generic tool. That's not gonna matter. The important part is the clutch pressure plate, and then this here. They also like seal it in very good here too. So when they're shipping it, it's not jumping around, moving around. They even put
dusty or oily or wet.
Yeah, then they put your spline grease right here as well. Of course, you want to put on the shaft, no ditty. That way, it could actually lubricate it and not have to use baby oil. So that's the cool thing about it. It's gonna be super clean. Like I said, I'm taking my time to do this whole thing, but I'm doing this because I want to do it once and do it right. I don't want to go back in there. I don't want to have any problems. I don't want to have any issues later on down the road and be like, damn, I should have did this or I should have done that. You know, it's always the worst thing that happens when you think, man, I should have upgraded this while I'm already in there. You know.
Yeah. How long were you looking for a motor for?
The motors on these cars there's a big debate. So the big debate for the motors is it's not always like how hard it is to find the motor. It's more or less how hard it is to find a legit, reliable motor with a good compression. You're gonna find a lot of places that have them like hecka cheap, like the JDM importers, and then you're gonna have places that are like wrecking yards and all that. So I got mine at a JDM importer. Jesus, I forgot the name of the place. I'll have to find it. We'll put it in the next video.
Yeah, once we do the breakdown with the car.
Yeah, I have the invoice at home. I believe I paid like, normally they're like $2,300 for the whole swap, right? The engine, transmission, and like ECU. Like some of them they'll throw in the oil coolers because they just cut it from there. Other times sometimes they won't give you the oil coolers because they'll cut it at the oil cooler line. Sometimes they'll give you the OEM brand new oil coolers so they don't leak oil. However they do it, it just depends on per situation.
Depending on the day.
Yeah. So with this, with the engine, I ended up traveling all the way down to SoCal. We're over here in Northern California. I rented out a truck at Enterprise. I drove all the way to SoCal to like Long Beach. I tested out like 6 motors there. I bought my rotary compression tool. I tested out 6 motors there. They told me they were all good. I tested them out. They were all dog shit. I walked away right away, and they didn't even test them. I found out they were using a regular compression tester. They took off the valve in the inside to just see what the compression would be, and they didn't do it right. That's not how you check a rotary engine. You can get an idea of it if you record it, and you can check each compression stroke on every single phase because it jumps 3 times, and you want to see what every peak PSI is at that 3rd time. However, those that know about rotary engines, you're not going to be able to get an accurate reading because you have to check the atmospheric pressure and the revolution speed on the motor to get the accurate compression ratio on that rotary engine. Super weird. That's why they make a special tool. We'll link it down below, and that'll actually give you the it's a digital gauge, and you turn it on, you screw it in both upper and leading and trailing for each housing. It has a biometric, it has a biometric sensor inside of it, so it tests the biometric. It tests the pressure at sea level. It adjusts for that, and then it also adjusts for the RPM speed, and it gives you a adjusted and non-adjusted PSI for that RPM speed that the motor is rotating. So it's a really good tool. By far the easiest way to do it and test your motor. Don't spend the money on anything else. It's made for it, designed for it. You'll find them all. They're the same ones you can find on eBay, but it's the nice one with the rubber housing on it. Don't get the cheaper one. Not cheaper one. They're the same thing, but don't get the one that doesn't have it. Just because the rubber one is just, if you put it in your toolbox, you throw it around, it's not gonna get banged up and beat up or cracked, and you don't want to break a diode or a resistor inside of that thing and cause a messed up resistance or some shit. Don't fuck with the cheaper ones just because of that. Not saying the cheaper ones aren't gonna work. Just buy once and cry once, right?
Peace of mind.
Yeah. So long story short, I went all over LA. I didn't find one there. I went to JDM of LA. I tested some motors there. They had a decent one. Wasn't the compression number that I was looking for. You want to be around the specific RPM range. We'll put that down below in the photo, or we'll just put it in one of these corners or some shit. You want to be between certain numbers. or whatever. I went probably to about 6-7 other like JDM importers, all the way to LA, to San Diego, to Rio Vista, like almost in Mexico, and it was a bitch. But I tested over like 50 engines, and at the end of the day, we found one that had like,
We almost went to Cuba.
basically almost went to like Puerto Rico, dude. I was like almost there. So we went all over the place. I finally found one that had like legit like brand new compression numbers. We disassembled a lot of things to the engine so far, and we just kind of already started seeing that it might be a brand new factory engine that they replaced, and we might got one of those lucky ones.
Well, no, once we take it apart, because we got a lot of things to change on it, but it looks brand new. It's weird. Like even the exhaust manifold doesn't even look like it's been ran that long. It doesn't have any beat marks in it or nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm super stoked. Like the freaking the silicone on the oil pan is like barely cured. Like it's ridiculous. Like it doesn't have many heat cycles done through this motor.
Yeah.
So anyways, it took me a long time for that motor. They're normally like $2,300. I found this place in LA. I'll link them down below because these guys were extremely helpful. They were more than happy to let me test every single motor they had. They had everything from RB25s, RB26s, twin turbos, single turbos, 2 JZs, 1 JZs, K20 A4s, K20 A2s. They had K20As. They had B18 C1s. They had every single thing you could think of, and they're extremely happy. They had B20s. They had everything. They had 13Bs from Series 1 Rx-8, Series 2 Rx-8, and they had everything from, you know, top to bottom from any car you could think of usually. So they're pretty dope guys. So next thing, aside of the clutch kit, once we split that transmission housing, we're gonna do the throw-out bearing, we're gonna do a pilot bearing, which is a needle bearing. We're gonna do the seal that's in front of it. Of course, you can't do anything else. You can't do all of that and then not do a lightweight flywheel. Some people, they'll go ahead and just get like a stock one. Some of them will actually lighten it up like that, the steel ones. The issue with that is if you're not adding a aftermarket counterweight to balance that, you're gonna fuck it up. Rotary engines are, they work kind of counterintuitive to one another because they have one rotor housing and then the other one to offset that weight. It's 180 degrees offset on the other end to balance it out. So you're going to have a counterweight that looks like this, and what that does is gonna bolt onto your flywheel, so that way you can basically run both of them, and it'll add the same, not weight, but it'll balance out the weight distribution. You know, you don't want to just go super light and then it's gonna throw off everything out, because then you're gonna have to balance stuff and balance your, you know, your rotors, and it's just a fucking mess. So just buy the counterweight, keep it simple, and go from there. That's nothing special. It's not like aluminum or nothing like that. It's just, you don't want to go super light because you want it to be a specific weight, right? That's what that is. And then
we got those from,
and then that one I got it from Competition Clutch. Again, so if you guys need anything like that, again, hit up Tick Performance. You know, those guys are legit. They'll help you with anything you guys need.
Oh yeah, you got everything from them too.
Yeah, so I got everything from those guys. They have,
literally just call them, hit them up with the part number, and they'll help you.
Yeah, like I said, normally you can find it on their website, but if you can't, call them up and tell them what you have, and they'll help you find the part number. And that also comes with your new bolts. You know, you're gonna have the bolts for that as well. And then, yeah, so then on this box here, we got the aftermarket flywheel. I believe this one's steel. Yeah, so this is a steel lightweight flywheel. You could run any flywheel, honestly, but I personally prefer steel ones over the aluminum ones. You have a little bit less chatter whenever you put an aftermarket clutch, and as long as you get the weight you're trying to get to, it's fine the way it is. You know, like it's just, I like the steel ones personally. To each their own, but as long as you get that specific weight you're trying to get in between, whether it's too heavy or too light, depending on what kind of build you're doing, that's what you want to do. I'm eventually going to be turbocharging this car, so I'm not going to be doing a lightweight aluminum flywheel because you don't want to go too light, like in the 5, 6, 7 pound range. I went more a little bit heavier, but that's not a stock one. That way, as I'm driving it now, daily driver with my full bolt-ons and everything with the E85, I'm still able to get a little bit of oomph with that one there. And then with the steel, with the turbo, it's gonna help me on the bottom end torque, which doesn't have any because it's a fucking rotary engine, but still it's gonna help me not bog out with the light, like as if you would on a lightweight flywheel. So this one here is 9.68 pounds exactly, and that looks like this right here. So it looks like this. I'll pull it out. It'll be this guy here. So it's still machined. It's super lightweight, super clean. Just put some brake cleaner on it, clean it up, slap that on. You know, it's gonna be dope.
Yep.
Sick.
Yeah, if you want to go with the lighter one, it usually is better for an NA application. That way you just basically lower your rotational mass, and it'll rev like a freaking bike.
Yeah, that's when you get those cars. Like, yeah, you can get the rotary engines that do sound like that. You know, it all depends on the build. You know, if you want to do that, go ahead. Some people are like, well, just go with the lighter one because you don't have torque to begin with. You hear those RX-7s that sound like little jet engines or motorcycles. That sounds cool and everything, but is it necessary? Is it actually giving you performance? Are you doing it for the sound? Who knows? What are you racing it for? What type of racing do you do? Do you do autocross? Do you do drag racing? Do you do circuit racing? Time attack? What is it you're doing? So,
because this will being slightly heavier to keep it more driver friendly.
yeah, it's always going to be better and more. It's going to be more drivable when you're doing that as well. So these ones here, I got these radiator hoses from Mishimoto. Nothing special, just silicone radiator hoses. I only got these just because I found a good deal used on the Facebook Marketplace, and they're Mishimoto. It's not like they're like a super high end like.
They look brand new.
Yeah, they're brand new. They are brand new.
You didn't use them?
All these parts are brand new. This guy that I bought them from had a Rx-8. He was gonna just put them on his car, and he just like sold the car before he did anything, and he bought like a BMW M3 or some shit. So
I don't know if that was an upgrade.
yeah, so he did those. They're, like I said, brand new hoses. Mishimoto is not gonna be your highest end brand as far as like radiators and stuff go and things like that, but it is definitely an upgrade. They have good warranties. They're very affordable. They're reputable. They have good customer service. So you're not going to just get an eBay part. And now don't compare them to eBay because the quality is a lot better than eBay. So that's going to be the hoses right over here. I don't know. There's always a debate, and somebody that might watch this video might even ask, like, what kind of clamps are you going to use on that? Are you going to use your regular clamps that you just twist on with a screwdriver? Or are you going to use the OEM style that have like the butterfly kind of clamp on it? From what I've heard, the butterfly clamps that kind of just look like this are the best ones to go with, but I haven't had issues with either one, but I'll see what I can find. It's all a matter of finding the diameter that'll fit that hose.
You can always get those, non-binding hose clamps also.
Yeah, you can get, there's a bunch of hoses, the hose clamps out there. I mean, get whatever is affordable, or just get whatever, just get whatever you can find around you, If you have the option to get the ones that are like the OEM butterfly ones, like on the Honda's upper radiator hoses, like those old school looking ones, if you can get that, or the ones that screw in that you see at the countertop at AutoZone, get the OEM looking one. But if you can't find anything, they're all gonna work, dude. Just don't over tighten them, and you won't fuck it up.
That's what I was gonna say. The key is don't over tighten it. Just put it on. Don't put any grease. Some people like to put grease on them to help you get them in there, but that will also make it easier for it to pop out one day. So just put them on there, snug them up, do a heat cycle on it, and without driving it, get up to temp, let it cool down. If you don't see no leaks, then you're pretty much good. You can snug it up again after that first heat cycle, and you should be okay. Just don't over tighten it because you will mess any hose up, not just silicones.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I'm doing for hoses. I didn't even think about doing the hoses because normally I just go with the OEM ones. But I bought the radiator hoses, I bought the oil coolers, and I was originally looking for the oil cooler lines, the oil cooler hoses, because I wanted to upgrade those to begin with. And then the guy that had those also randomly brought these extra parts, and he's like, hey, I didn't post them online, but I got these oil coolers and the radiator hoses too. You want them? You want to buy them or no? And he originally he wanted like $500 for the hoses, the oil cooler lines, which is what they go for. They're like $550, which is very expensive. They're still braided lines. And then at the end of the day, he's like, you know what, man? Just take everything. Give me like $400 or $300, and then just take everything. And he gave me the brand new oil cooler hoses, the oil cooler lines. He gave me these are actually 19-row oil coolers, which is massive. And then he gave me the radiator hoses, and he gave me two oil coolers, and then he gave me the radiator hoses, all for like $350 or something like that, which is ridiculous. Like he's basically giving me everything, giving everything away. So super cool dude. That was dope. And then I got the oil coolers as well. So as far as the oil coolers go, I didn't plan on doing them, but I know I had a leak in one of my lines, so I was gonna eventually do my lines, and that's why I went to buy the aftermarket lines. When he told me he had these oil coolers, I couldn't say no, and I was like anybody else.
You could have, but you chose not to.
Yeah, just like anybody with the anybody with in their right mind would just obviously take the free fucking oil coolers. You know, you're not gonna say no to the free parts. So that's what these are gonna look like. They're gonna look like this right in front of the car. I have 2 of them. So factory on the Rx-8s, for those that don't know, they already come factory with oil coolers, but they're not the best design. So those ones, they have like a thermostat petcock on the side of the oil coolers, so when it gets a certain temperature, that way it opens up, and once it gets to operating temperature. I can see in the future, whenever I do run the oil temperature and the oil pressure gauge in the mornings, I can see it like you have to let the car warm up more for the oil to get an operating temperature in the wintertime. I wouldn't say it's a problem, but arguably you want to let it warm up before you drive it, but in a rotary you're doing that anyways, so it shouldn't be an issue. But that's just something to keep in mind when you do these. You're kind of bypassing that, you know, thermostat petcock on the side of the factory ones, and you're just basically going straight, you know, AN lines into your oil coolers. But that's what these are going to look like right there. It's going to look pretty sick.
Yep.
So yeah, the hardest part that's going to be with these is going to be making a bracket, like a makeshift bracket that's going to basically mount them here onto the car, so where you can see it perfectly. We have all the machinery and the tools to CNC something or just machine something to make it work. I'm trying not to do it like super janky out of like, you know, like chicken wire or nothing like that, but I want to make a legit bracket. That way it looks pretty dope when it's all said and done. Before I show you this, I'm going to show you just the oil cooler hoses. The oil cooler hoses are in this giant box. I'm not going to put the whole thing out, but basically they just come like in a giant.
Everything you need.
Everything you need in there. It comes with all the hoses you need.
Plus, they'll see it as we install it.
Yeah, once we're installing everything, you'll see everything, but let me see if I could. So those that already know what they look like, it's just a steel braided oil cooler hose. Nothing super crazy, but obviously better than a factory one. It'll look like that. And they already and these already come with all the fittings on them.
What's the AN on that thing?
I think there's like, I don't know, honestly I forget. I think it's like a 5/8. So it's like a 5/8 line. What is that? 10 AN? 12 AN?
6 AN.
6 AN? I don't know. I fucking don't know.
I remember.
I forgot the conversion chart, but it's like a 5/8.
We'll verify it once we're doing it.
Yeah, so these are legit. They go straight onto the oil coolers. You don't have to do anything else to them.
10 AN.
Right. 10 AN. Verified.
Verified.
Straight from the source. Yeah, so that's gonna be dope. The oil cooler lines are gonna help bring down the oil cooler temperatures. The oil temperatures is gonna help you with that, and then of course, like, you know, it's just gonna be more durable, more rigid, and all that. So it comes with the ones to each oil cooler, from the one that goes across to the front ones, and then they go into the oil cooler house, the oil filter housing, and all that stuff. So
it'll have
super.
two.
It has like 4 of them. It's like 4 or 5, I believe. It's been a while.
No, but the coolers is two.
2 oil coolers, yeah, one on the driver and one on the passenger side. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of parts, man. So that's basically that. And then in here, I got the Dishworks fuel pump. Of course, comes with a badass sticker. I'm gonna slap all these stickers onto my car with everybody that's helped out, all the places that's helped out, anybody that I wouldn't say sponsored, but that just basically helped us give us some discount codes. A partial sponsor, I guess. They kind of just helped us out with some of that. Tick Performance, Ryan Rotary Performance. Big shout out to you guys. You know,
just literally just for helping.
Yeah, pretty much. And then right here, Dishworks 300, which is a 340 liters per hour fuel pump at 40 psi. So that's what it's going to be here. This is compatible with E85. Again, on my car, I'm running E85. I'm running the E Flex Fuel Pro kit. That one there is like a really nice kit. I recommend it to anybody. Super sick. We'll do a whole video on that kit later on down the road. I have it on my car. I have it on his car. That's not the reason why my car messed up. My car messed up because of my radiator fans stopped working in the heat of the summer and was already going out. My motor was already slowly going out, so I just rode it till it died.
Yeah, it's been down since last summer, so.
Yeah, it's been down for a while. So I was just waiting for the summertime to kill the car and then just slowly build the parts together and bring it back. So that's that part, and then the final part is going to be.
Well, the motor was already kind of on its way out since you got the car.
Yeah.
And it was still yanking on some Rx-8s out there.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny. We weren't sure, but once we started running across some people, we realized that this thing was actually pretty quick. So the E85 definitely helped.
Yeah, definitely. So the last part that I'm doing, not the last part, but one of the other parts that I'm doing for preventative measures on reliability is the radiator, aluminum radiator. It's a big old box, so it's gonna be hard to put everything up here, but I'm gonna be running the coil. I'm gonna be running the coil radiator. Flip around. So let me open this up, show you guys what it looks like. Super sick aluminum radiator. These are like the best ones in the game. Anybody ever wants a radiator?
Cut towards your buddies, not your belly.
Yeah, so these ones are machined extremely nice. Super nice. They're already like polished. It's not like these. This one I will compare to the eBay where it is not cheap. It is not garbage. These ones are sick. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, right here it has a couple of like little dents on the fins. Honestly, I'm not worried about it as long as it doesn't damage the actual rows in the radiator.
No, I mean,
can always pull those out.
Yeah, we'll straighten them out with a piece of zip tie.
Yeah, you can do the zip tie or however you decide. Just don't puncture any of the fins. It's not gonna ever be perfect. When you drive it, I can be an asshole and call somebody and be like, oh, why isn't this perfect? I got damage in shipping. I know for a fact Tick Performance will take care of it, but I'm not gonna be.
I mean, they told us.
Yeah, they told me
wrong. Let us know.
Yeah, so I'm still not gonna go ahead and be that guy. I don't need to because I already know and they know. I'm gonna be hitting bugs. There's gonna be rocks in the freeway. It's gonna fuck it up. It's not that little thing. You can have like spots. Like I can have like 5 of these. It wouldn't affect any performance. So yeah, so that's what this looks like here. Super fucking dope. Polished all around. You have it there and you have it right here in the front on top as well to verify it's a legit coil radiator.
I'm so excited to change this while the motor's out of it.
Yeah.
Because I just did one for a friend and it was, I still have nightmares from it.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass when they're in the car. That's why it's always better to do it when the car is out.
Yeah.
That's for sure. At the end of the day, you know, it's just a matter of starting to put everything together. Just putting these parts on the car and just start doing it. You know, it always seems like, oh man, we got all these parts and it's gonna take us so fucking long to do this and do that. Like I told Aniva, and I said, you know what? Like, I'm doing a lot of things to the car, but a lot of them that I'm changing out are parts that are already gonna be there when we're on our way doing it. Just like you would on a Honda, it's like doing your water pump when you're doing your timing belt. No more than that. So I'm gonna make sure that whenever we do all these parts, it's something super simple. You know, I'm not trying to go all crazy and like, oh, I'm gonna do my rear diff while I'm already under the car. No, nothing like that.
Well, it's kind of like the same thing here, like how Mike Fagan again said. He said the headlight was out, so he put a blower on it.
Yeah, so
because it's already there, you know?
Yeah, and what's crazy is like, there are some things in this car that I'm already doing. A little bit of an upgrade, of course, like your clutch and everything, but if you're gonna put a stock clutch back in there, put the stage 1. If you're gonna do the flywheel, like, I don't need to do the flywheel, but I'm already in there, do the flywheel, you know? The fuel pump I'm only doing because the stock fuel pump on the E85K will work and does work perfectly fine. Mine didn't fail on me, that's not why the car messed up. It was running forever and it will still run guaranteed if I just put some cleaner in it because of the corrosion, of course, with ethanol fuel, but once I just turn it on and everything, it'll keep on running, but why wouldn't I just...
E85 doesn't corrode. It attracts moisture and the moisture is what corrodes.
Yeah. It causes corrosion,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if you run your car every day...
Yeah, if you run it every day, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, since I'm already spending all this money, I was like, fuck it. What's it going to cost me to spend another like $150 on this fuel pump? Those are the things that I'm doing for preventative measures. You know, you have your things that you're doing that are already there that you want to upgrade, and then I'm doing things that are there for preventative measures, right? So I have the radiator as a preventative measure. I'm going to be doing some Flex-Lite fans, some bigger ones that are going to have higher CFM ratings in the front of the car. I'm going to be doing some higher quality fans that I'm going to be doing on that. That's going to be a huge upgrade to prevent the car from overheating. Rotary engines are, like, someone can argue that they're shitty cars. It's 99% of the time the person that doesn't know how to maintain.
Code 3, operator error.
Yeah, it's basically that. So usually it's because you don't know how to take care of it, maintain it, and I get it. Oh, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do this and doing that. Dude, I know people with a fucking Hyundai that have fucking 300,000 miles. You think they just put gas in it and drive? You have to maintain it to your intervals. Yep. So you gotta know how to take care of each individual car. You know, BMWs, same thing. They're garbage cars, but for some people they like them because they want to spend the money on doing the interval changes.
And plus they have lifetime no service transmissions, remember? So that's gotta be a win.
Yeah. So things like that, you know. So, you know, like, it's all a matter of like the rotary engines. We'll get all into that and how to maintain a rotary engine car or an RX-7 or an Rx-8 in a future video. We'll talk about what you got to do, how much you got to put, how much premix to put in a car for daily driving, for racing, for heavy driving, how much, you know, how much premix you have to add in the car if you're already running a zone adapter and stuff like that. So all that's gonna change, but we're gonna talk about that on a whole nother video. It's gonna probably be a whole RX-8 video series. We have a couple cars we're doing, a few cars we're doing. We're doing an RX-8, we're doing a Mustang, we're doing a Honda Civic EF-SI I just got from one of my buddies. We got a lot of cool stuff that's gonna be coming in the future. We're gonna be wrapping stuff up now. Hopefully doing a lot more videos, a lot more often.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get back in the rhythm because it's been too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. You know, like I'm working local now.
We're still working on these things. You know, like not these two. These two cars are a buddy of mine. But we're still doing things. I just haven't been recording. So this guy's getting on me for not recording. So we gotta do it again.
Yeah, you know, and that's what it is. You know, it's all about just getting back in the rhythm, getting people what they want to see. Just, you know, like people are just at home taking a dump, watching YouTube. So give you guys something to do. You know, just watch the videos.
And my emails too.
Yeah, you know, like that's when Anivan sends me like 25 fucking reels in like 10 seconds. I know he's either taking the shit or he's over there where he's got to deliver on his big rig. You know,
yeah,
it's only 2
other
times
to get loaded.
Yeah, the only time he would like message you back with 25 reels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I don't look at nobody's.
Yeah, I would send him like, hey, you just sent me this. Oh, he would send it again. He won't even he won't even look at that shit. Yeah, I have to like, if I ever have a reel that I need to let him know that's actually funny or informative, I fucking have to text it to him and fucking send him an email and tell his wife, tell Anivan to look at that shit.
I don't check on anything. I just, when I'm bored, I just scan through the things and I send it to all my usual buddies that will reply back. If you reply back, you get more back.
Now you guys know, if you don't want to get them, just don't even reply back to that shit. You know? I already told them I don't want the same algorithm, so it's all good. But anyways,
we don't have the same algorithm for sure.
Yeah, for sure don't. So anyways, back to the whole car thing, you know, like we're gonna get back into these videos. We want to get back into the video series. I want to get my RX-8 going all over again. You know, we got all the parts we need. There's a couple of little things that I'm still gonna get as we go.
Right there.
Yeah, our motor's right back there. Well, if you guys want, we'll pick up the camera. We'll walk back there and talk to you guys a little bit about it.
Walk around in it? We can show it, yeah. We don't got any more parts, right?
Yeah, parts are all done for now. We'll probably show more parts later on. All right, so now we're gonna go back there show you guys the engine. We're gonna show you guys what we got going on. This is gonna be a regular 13B out of a Series 1 RX-8. They go for any first series of the RX-8 motors. These ones here, they come with the engine and transmission. Once I did the compression test to verify everything, we wrote the compression numbers. Those who know, the front rotor housing and the rotors are always going to have a little bit more wear than the rear ones.
If you don't know, explain to me like I'm 5.
Okay. Those that don't know, every single number on here, in the rotary engine, you don't have pistons obviously and valves and all that BS. So you have a triangle little Dorito inside of there. In that triangle, you have 3 sides. So there's a seal in between each side of that triangle.
Yeah, basically every face of the triangle is a compression stroke.
Correct. So in every single face, you have a compression number. So you want to make sure these are no more than like 5% variance between numbers. So you have 125, 128, and 120. That's literally brand fucking new. Like these things, when they're broken in, they lose a lot of compression. Brand new motors that I've seen broken in after like 3,000 miles is like around 115 psi. This one, the front side has 112, 115, and 113. Granted, this is at a controlled environment with no fuel in there. You know, it's completely dry. This car's, the engine's been sitting for at least, 8 months. Like about 4 months now. This engine's been sitting. They got it off in February at their import over there in down in Southern California. The engine looks very, very healthy. It looks extremely clean. We kind of airbrushed a little bit around it and dusted everything out.
Look at the EGR tube.
Yeah,
it doesn't even look like it's ever been turned on.
It doesn't have a lot of heat cycles on it. One thing that I did notice, on this one, it had the aftermarket radiator hoses. These are the ones that I was telling you guys that you can put on there. You can use those. It's all personal preference. When I saw this engine, I said 2 things. It's either gonna be extremely good or it's gonna be an extremely bad motor. I felt this one was not gonna be an in-between, and I knew because all the ones that I was already testing out. I tested it out and this thing was like the fucking healthiest motor ever. I was like trying my hardest to not scream of joy. This motor is like, the blessed one of them all. Knock on wood, the only thing that I can possibly think of that's going to be an issue with this motor is like an engine bearing failure in the middle, and that's really rare that you'll get, especially with somebody that you're looking at when they have aftermarket hoses. 99% of the time, especially in Japan when they're importing these guys that run these motors and these type of cars already know how to properly maintain one of these rotary engines. I was looking at the oil metering pump as well down over here where the premix goes into. It looks extremely clean. Looks like they never had a lot of old oil, or they were already running premix in the car. So this thing is extremely sick. I'm super stoked about it. I'm ready to get working on this thing as soon as possible. These are the factory oil coolers that I was talking about earlier. You know, they look really funky. They're about, what is it, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, like 10 row radiators. So the ones we're going to put on there are like double the size. And as far as like cooling is going to be, it's going to be fucking sick, man. We're going to do a lot of new components, more than likely. I have a lot of new parts on my other car, a ton of new sensors. We're just going to swap out sensors. We're going to swap out like alternators, stuff like that. I might even buy a new alternator because my old one had some oil leaking from one of the oil seals in the bottom. So
I'm gonna put a chrome one.
yeah, so I have a lot of things I'm gonna do to this thing.
For the car shows, right?
It's gonna look sick, man. We're super fucking stoked. Super fucking stoked. It's gonna be really sick. Dude, like I just can't wait to get this fucking shit going, man. Like, it's really it.
And it came with a transmission.
It came with a transmission, yeah. Like I said, these guys, they wanted $2,300 for this engine, and we ended up getting it. I think I paid cash, and they didn't charge me the taxes. I mean, if the CDTFA is listening, they definitely like charged me more tax than I needed to. They charged me like double the tax and shit. But yeah, go over there and talk to them over there.
For taxes. And
Yeah.
they gave you these 2 piles of metal.
Pretty much. So yeah, I mean, we did that shit and then picked it up. They gave it to me for like $1,500. It was super sick ass deal. These guys, I think they even price matched one of the other places that had one, but that didn't have a what do you call it? And I'm only pausing because I just noticed those radiator hoses are really high-end quality hoses, and I know what brand they are. So anyways, they're price matching another competitor that was also they had the motors, but it was a bad engine. I let them know it was a bad engine, but they were still willing to price match. So these guys are fucking hella cool. I'll put them down below in the description, let everybody know what that was. So going back to these radiator hoses, you can't really see it, but those are Racing Beat radiator hoses. And anybody that knows about rotary engines,
Some degenerate.
yeah, some degenerate fucking cut a fucking $200 radiator hose. This one hose is worth like more than like 4 times worth more than those Mishimotos. This is a legit quality hose. This is a real legit fucking radiator hose. These things are firm. They're fucking hard as fuck. No diddy. Anyways, back to the video about the engine. We're super stoked to get it going and see what we got going on over there. And then a little glimpse over here what we got in the background. We got a little Honda Civic with the fucking D15 carbureted with a little AC.
With one rotary.
With a little, we got an AC compressor right there. We're gonna put AC in this one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
California weather.
pretty much.
All this pollution.
But yeah, man. So that's it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and see you guys in the next video. If you guys want to get anything else showing up, you guys want us to, do anything else, just come holla. Peace out.